Most people assume that when it rains, gravity does the work. But in the Central Valley, gravity started working against them. Security cameras and drone footage confirmed the impossible. Currents were moving in reverse. The land had warped and buckled so severely that the water had nowhere to go but down, filling up new canyons that formed in the middle of orchards. So, here is the deal.
Across 4 countries in Southeast Asia, authorities are working against the clock to deliver much-needed supplies to more than 1 million people who have been forced from their homes by devastating flooding.
This backward flow was the first warning of a much bigger problem. A problem that involves contaminated wells, sinking cities, and a landscape that is actively fighting back against the people living on it. The map was wrong. No one in the Central Valley will ever forget the first few weeks of the year 2023. The rain kept coming, hitting the dry soil hard, but that is not what caused the panic. This is a region that is used to drought, so at first the rain felt like a blessing. But after a few nights, the locals realized something felt very different. The cracked soil that usually stays dry all year was absorbing water way too fast. High, flat farm fields began to show long streaks of pooling water, almost as if an underground current had risen right beneath people's feet. From the highway, the Central Valley looked like the same familiar stretch of America it always had. You had the cotton fields, the endless almond orchards running toward the horizon, and the straight roads cutting through the basin. But most people did not realize that beneath that seemingly unchanged surface, the land had been sinking quietly for 40 years. Every inch lowered at a pace so subtle that even longtime residents never noticed it until it was too late. It was only when the storms hit that the truth became visible. The U.S. Geological Survey reported that large areas of Kings, Tulare, and Fresno counties had dropped more than 2 to 3 feet since the early 2000s. This was not caused by earthquakes or weak geology. It was groundwater. This is the lifeline of the entire agricultural empire in the valley, and it was being pumped out year after year to support millions of acres of farms. To survive the long droughts, growers drilled deeper, pumped harder, and every one of those emergency measures pulled the land down a little more. People did not see the sinking, but they saw small hints. There were hairline cracks in the pavement. Irrigation canals no longer flowed the way they used to. Shallow wells were suddenly going dry. Everyone assumed it was part of normal wear and tear in an intense farming region. But by 2023, a chain of atmospheric rivers arrived, and all those quiet changes fused into something no one expected. Water did not drain toward the rivers the way the map showed. It moved into people's yards, their basements, and fields that had never been marked as flood zones. Some towns began reporting something even stranger. The water appeared to be rising from below, not just falling from above. Household wells, even the ones built higher than the surrounding ground, turned cloudy overnight. And get this, footage recorded by residents, which was first sent to emergency crews, showed water pouring into new depressions that did not exist before. These were depressions missing from old hydrologic maps because they had simply never been there. That was when scientists began asking the urgent question, was the problem truly heavy rain? Or had the land changed so much that the region's decades-old drainage system no longer fit the terrain? Basically, the rainy season was only the spark. The real danger lay in the new landscape that people had unintentionally created. Small changes stacked over many years became a major shift in just a few nights. And when the map no longer matches the ground, any storm can turn into a threat. But what unsettled people most was a detail researchers found after analyzing the footage. The water was not just settling in newly formed low spots. It was moving in patterns none of the old models could predict. And if the flow had changed that much, the idea of stability was gone. But here is the catch. Just when they thought they found a way to fix it, the solution triggered something worse. When the cure is the disease. After the rainy season of 2023 left dozens of towns buried in mud, the Central Valley entered a stage where many people believed they had finally found a way out. The phrase heard most often in community meetings and state briefings was managed aquifer recharge. It sounded like a perfectly reasonable strategy. The plan was to capture floodwater and route it into soils that could absorb it to replace the groundwater that had been pumped out for decades. For residents, this felt like the last answer after a long string of failures. When drought came, they drilled wells, When wells went dry, they drilled deeper. When the land began to sink, they waited for state agencies to move water around. But when they saw floodwater held in shallow basins slowly soaking into the ground, many genuinely believed this was the tool that could pull the Central Valley out of the cycle of disaster. A few early case studies reinforced that hope. In Kern County, groundwater levels at several monitoring wells rose slightly after recharge efforts. Optimistic experts called it a sign of recovery. On the maps, patches of green began to reappear, symbolizing a partial rebound of the aquifer. But those promising signals hid a harder truth. After decades of pumping, the soil had been compacted and its ability to absorb water had dropped sharply. Deep clay layers could not open up the way they once did. This meant that even when water was directed back into the ground, not every place could accept it as planned. In some areas, water infiltrated quickly. In others, it hardly moved at all. It began to drift sideways into new low-lying zones created by subsidence, and from there an unpredictable chain of effects began. Another paradox appeared inside the recharge process itself. When water was directed into areas near livestock operations or fields with heavy fertilizer history, the risk of nitrate being carried down into the aquifer rose sharply. Many scientists had warned about this for years. But it was only when household wells changed color and when a metallic smell spread through family kitchens that people realized adding water does not always mean making it cleaner. The shifting climate blurred everything further. The system was designed for steady, moderate rainfall, something California no longer has. Now the pattern is long dry spells and then sudden intense storms. When atmospheric rivers drop billions of gallons of water in a matter of days, that volume far exceeds what any recharge system can handle. So where does the excess go? It spills into canals, over fields, and eventually follows paths no planner ever anticipated. In the footage that research teams reviewed after the storms, a strange pattern emerged. New flows were veering away from their old routes and following areas that had sunk the most over the past 10 or 20 years. In the end, residents found themselves once again in a familiar position. They did not make the big decisions, but they were the first to see the results when land dropped and wells turned cloudy. And all of this is only the surface layer of the story, because behind this strategy that looked like a rescue plan lies the biggest twist of all. The very efforts to repair the damage may be triggering a new domino chain the Central Valley is not prepared to face. When the Earth moves. One morning after a major storm, teams of engineers returned to the Central Valley to document the damage. But what they saw first was not on the surface. It was in the numbers. In Corcoran, the ground had dropped more than an inch in just a few months, and the pattern was uneven, as if the subsurface were rearranging itself. In Tulare, nitrate levels in domestic wells jumped suddenly. Along Highway 99, new cracks appeared in places where there had been no earthquakes to blame. No one rushed to a conclusion, but the data did not match earlier expectations. It looked more like a clock that had just been wound and then started to drift off time, as if some hidden force were pulling in the opposite direction. As scientists began linking the data points, a strange picture appeared. In areas where the ground had been compacted by decades of pumping, the new water was not spreading evenly into the soil. It was pooling in localized zones, then moving outward and downward, putting extra pressure on layers that were already worn out. You could not always see this from the surface, but monthly maps began to show deformation pockets forming right after the storms. No one stated that recharge had caused these patterns, but everyone sensed that water was choosing paths that did not match history. And sometimes it is that silent, almost invisible movement that makes viewers stop when they watch the footage. Water that no longer respects its old routes is a terrifying thing. In Roland Tract, what happened was even harder to explain. Thousands of acres of almond trees sat underwater for weeks. The water did not drain away. It did not evaporate at the usual pace. Roots died. The entire crop was lost. The damage was estimated at nearly $100 million. Residents kept asking one simple question: why is the water still here when the sky has been clear for a month? No one had an answer. Farther north, other disturbing signs appeared inside people's kitchens. Well water turned a pale yellow. Some taps carried a faint metallic taste. When tests were run, nitrate levels had climbed and arsenic ticked up. People who had lived there all their lives said their wells had never changed, not even in the wettest years. So what was stirring up the deep layers now? Some hydrologists offered a cautious hypothesis. When large amounts of water are forced into the ground over a short time, layers that had been stable can be disturbed, pulling old agricultural residues from past decades back into circulation. The estimated confidence in this explanation was high. It was not certain, but it was enough for residents to understand that adding water does not always mean cleaning things up. Another research group turned its attention to the canal network. Those canals were designed on the assumption that the land beneath them would stay relatively stable. But when the ground sinks in patches, the slopes change. Water in the canals slows in some stretches, speeds up in others, and occasionally spills gently over the banks. One piece of footage recorded in late 2023 showed water flowing backward along a reach that had always moved in the opposite direction, a sight that locals said they had never seen before. In the water meetings that followed, the same questions came up again and again. Where is the water going now? Why is it picking neighborhoods that have never flooded before? Is the recharge effort quietly rebuilding the map of flow paths? These seemingly harmless pathways may determine where the next flood hits. At the same time, the subsidence maps suggested something else. The unevenness is growing. Some spots are sinking faster than the land around them, drawing water toward the very places where people live. A few scientists have begun calling this an artificial landscape, not shaped by nature alone, but by decades of groundwater extraction. And when the shape of the land changes, the water changes with it. But if you think the physical damage is bad, wait until you hear about the silent collapse happening inside the towns themselves. A town with no value. The most unsettling part after the rainy season was not the moment when water tore through homes, but the feeling that the Central Valley kept changing even after the sky had cleared. In the weeks that followed, small details began to show up here and there. A thin crack on a doorstep, a patch of yard sinking by half an inch, a field that stayed damp for days as if it were holding water inside the soil. On their own, each sign was just an oddity, but put together they looked like pieces of a larger picture, one in which nature was quietly rearranging an order that people had pushed too far. The first layer of escalation appeared right beneath the foundations. Many families noticed that the soil around their homes was eroding in directions they had never seen before. There was no major storm to blame, only quiet underground flows searching for new routes after old streams had been buried to make room for canals. In some places, the ground dropped several inches in a single season. In others, water bubbled up into backyards as if some hidden valve had been opened beneath their feet. No one could say for sure what was happening, but everyone understood that the ground was not as trustworthy as it once was. The second layer showed up in the economy. Insurance companies began updating their risk maps, and many areas were listed for the first time as uninsurable. What shocked residents was not just the higher premiums, but the reason written in the reports. Unstable ground. Home values fell sharply even when the houses themselves were still in good shape. One family on the eastern side of Tulare tried to sell their house after the previous year's storms, but no one came to look. They were trapped not because they wanted to stay, but because the whole area had become a place where buyers feared the land beneath a home could turn into a flood catch basin at any moment. The third layer reached into public health, something few had ever linked directly to the path of water. As underground flows shifted, it carried with it mineral layers and old chemicals that had been sitting still for decades in farm soils. Some wells turned a pale yellow and picked up a metallic smell. Others left people with burning skin after they washed. Local clinics saw more cases of allergies, skin conditions, and digestive problems after each round of storms. For retirees living on fixed incomes, having to buy bottled water became a quiet, ongoing burden. The fourth layer rose from nature itself. Native forests had been replaced by fields and shallow-rooted grasses that simply could not hold soil when heavy water arrived. On the eastern slopes, researchers recorded a clear rise in erosion with new scars cut into hillsides after every rainy season. An acre of forest can hold tens of thousands of gallons of storm water. But land that has been compacted and plowed again and again can retain only a small part of that. When soil is lost, water runs faster. When the water grows stronger, more soil disappears. So after seeing the ground collapse and the water flow backward, what is your take? Is the Central Valley fixable, or is nature finally taking back what belongs to it? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more mysteries. Thanks for watching.